What's up, preppers? I thought I'd best answer your questions. I put out on the community a while ago that you could ask me anything, and we had questions in on here and on Twitter as well. So I'm just going to go through some of them and just give you my honest, unstaged answers, as it were. So I apologize for the rambling in advance. So we'll start from the top. Let's have a look. Anthony Parkinson 1056 says, I would like to know how to find preppers in areas where we live. For example, I'm from Teesside and people just think I'm mad when I mention about prepping. Yes, Anthony, I'm sure many people can relate to this, and almost you don't want to broach the subject to people in fear of that, in fear of them thinking you're crazy, you're mad, and all the above. So it is a difficult one. I've been on a couple of different prep forums. So if you search like prepper forums, I have been on a couple of different ones, but they didn't seem, how do I say this politically correct? They didn't seem like my type of preppers when mentioning nuclear war plans and things like that. They were like, there's no point. If we get nuked, we're done for anyway. I'm like, well, that's not the type of preppers I really want to network with. You know, survive at all costs for me. So from that, I started my own forum. It's only just launched, so we've got like 10 people on there at the moment, and it's ukprep.co.uk, and on there will be sections that people can post what area they live in, and hopefully start to build my network and help people like you build your network. Not saying it's the only option. There's loads of different forums out there. Go and explore for yourself. They might be your type of people. But forums seems to be the safe space, as it were, to mention this. There is a few Facebook groups, but it's how public you want that knowledge. So, yeah. Thank you for your question. Next, Northeast SelfSufficient. What woke you up and started you prepping? Was there a single event that kickstarted it, or was it more of a gradual process? Well, it depends your definition of woke you up. Now, I am the practical prepper. I'm the realistic prepper. I'm not the crazy conspiracy prepper that thinks everybody's out to get me. So what started me prepping was, I did a recent video that it's in my blood because my family used to do it. But what got me seriously on it was looking at, I caught a random documentary about the Carrington event. And it was very flippantly stated that it's overdue by X amount of years. It could happen at any time. It could do this, that, and the other. I was like, okay. And I'm one of these people, if somebody says something, I'll hyperfixate and I'll look into it. So it's not just to watch a documentary, that was interesting, now go on to the next thing. I would then deep dived that on the internet and went as far as I could. So that started me prepping, only on a small scale. I was with my ex at the time, so I had to do it without affecting her lifestyle. So it was just on a small scale. And then I slowly built up this pantry and lost my job unexpectedly. I wasn't fired or anything like that. I was made redundant, but there was no redundancy. I wasn't there long enough. I'd only just got a new job. So I had no savings behind me. We'd only just moved house. Literally everything had gone. So we had to live off the prepper pantry for a full month till I found work within a week. And then obviously by the time you get paid. So it was sudden realization, like, wow, this really helps. And if I hadn't been for this, I'd have been borrowing, beg, borrow, steal, everything. So it kind of reaffirmed this is a good idea. That's what started me prepping. Now, if you talk, woke me up to what we see every day on the news, I think becoming a prepper and watching other preppers, watching other channels, things like that. Some of it is extreme, but some of it is like, well, this is obviously news. And then you do some research and it is actually news. And then you think, why is that not on the news? And you realize how controlled our media is. And I suppose that the slow realization of there is no point me checking the BBC and Sky News every morning like I have been doing. It's only going to filter down very basics of what they're going to tell me. So I hope that answers it. I felt like a ramble there, but here you go. Thank you for your question, Northeast Self-Sufficient. Next one. What's that? I need to change this font. Bonria Blackie 4047. What specifically are you prepping for? I remember seeing this comment. Yes, he didn't just say that question. He listed all sorts of random stuff like zombie apocalypse, floods, etc., etc. Now, if you go back as early as the start of my channel, them very first cringy videos that you put up, I think I pretty much explained why I prep and how I prep and what I'm prepping for. And that in the initial was EMP or solar flare that would take down the power grid for a prolonged period of time, and the following social disorder after that. So that's my initial, that's what my plan had been centered around for the last 5 years at least. Now, in the last 6 months, I've kind of gone off to a tangent of, because of what's going on in the world, because of the more of the information I'm getting, the more and more it's starting to look like World War III, whether we're directly involved or whether we have the economic knock-on effect of that. That is now my main concern. I'm still concerned we could have a flare at any point, but I think I'm as prepped as I can be for that. I do monitor it a lot, so I am still prepped for that, and I will maintain them. But the tangent now is to be prepared for essentially World War III, rationing, fuel supply, everything that would have the knock-on effect. Again, done a video on that recently, so go and check that out. But yeah, specifically, that's what I'm prepping for. Thank you for your question. Emily Morton 6510. Every time I say these numbers, I keep thinking of when I was in the army. 251 244. No, yeah, I just numbers on the end puts me in that mindset. How can people prep their homes in case of extreme weather or potential dust from military action? Well, I've lived through this kind of without being a prepper before I was a prepper. It was when I was in the Northeast. There's a small town called Newton Aycliffe, and there is like a chemicals factory in the industrial estate there. And there was a big fire next to that. There was a Stiller's warehouse or something like that. You can still find the fire footage online. It's from years ago, though. And it was a warehouse containing gas canisters, and these are all blowing up and big flames and stuff like that. But this was right next door to this chemical plant. And I wasn't a prepper at the time, as much as, you know, I did have stuff in the house because that's my upbringing, but not as much as I am now. And believe it or not, the radio that I had in the kitchen, listening to a football match on Northeast Radio, interrupted with a warning. And then it was on all the local news channels. And it was basically, if this thing catches, there could be a huge chemical explosion. So they said, we advise you stay inside, seal up all windows, doors, etc. So we literally had to, I grabbed all the tape I could. Luckily, I had loads of masking tape. It's not as good as duct tape, but it did the job. And I sealed all around the door creases, the letterbox, around the windows. It was double glazing, but still better safe than sorry. And I literally taped up every possible vent. Now, I monitored the news very closely after that, because as soon as I could, I wanted to take that off because I didn't want to become this incubator, with no ventilation whatsoever. But yeah, I had to seal everything up like that. So that's basically the strategy. If it was just dust and extreme weather, I would tend to leave vents. If you've got vented bricks and things like that, I would tend to leave them if you possibly can. If you're on a main road, seal the front of your house, but use the back for a bit of ventilation, if it's something like that. So it's one of those things, it's hard to tell people what to do until they're physically in that situation and what their location's like. So, and extreme weather, I've not got them in this house, but I want storm shutters. A, they're aesthetically pleasing, and B, if you get actual storm shutters, the interior ones, the wooden ones, they're practical, not just for dress, but like painted nicely. But when you close them, they close inside your house, so your glass is on the outside, and they close up and seal. That would be awesome protection. I want them on all of my windows, downstairs and up. So yeah, again, thank you. You triggered another ramble, but thank you for your question there, Emily. Next, we have Lucian J 5376. Everyone's got a number. Have you any info on the immigrants planning an attack at the start of the Olympics this year? No. Wrong channel. I think that's a funkier channel than this one, in a different direction. I'm going to touch on this though, and I might ruffle some feathers. I might lose some subs because I'm sure you're fans of multiple preppers on here, but this whole, they're building an immigrant army, they're training up all these people. What planet are people on? How would that, seriously, the logistics of that, how would that possibly work? We swear allegiance to the crown when we join the army. I did it, I know. Mine was to the Queen at the time. Obviously, it'd be the King now. But the government controls that. We've got defense secretary, stuff like that, that dictate where we go, who we fight, how we fight, etc. They have a professionally trained army at their service. How would it possibly work, this whole, or the making an immigrant army? It's absolute crap as far as I'm concerned. Don't get me wrong, I'm open-minded. If it happens, we'll deal with it at the time. But I genuinely, apart from, ooh, look at this person and how old he is coming in. Ooh, look at this base where they're all being housed at. It's emergency housing. It was an empty building. It's just how it works, But the evidence is so tenuous, so light, that it's just ridiculous. So I will tell you, with things like the Olympics, always be vigilant. I go to like Manchester and London and places like that for events, and I'm always checking the exits, stuff like that. My friends were inside the arena at the Manchester bombing. So yeah, with anything like that, big events, big football games, Olympics, concerts, be vigilant, be very aware, know your surroundings, know your escape routes, look around. That's my best advice. But as far as information on that, no, sorry. It's that's not one for me. Next. Thanks for your question, though. I do appreciate you taking the time. So the next one's from Twitter. So I've not got the handle on here because I don't know if people want them sharing, so I didn't get a chance to ask on there. So I've got a couple from Twitter that just say from Twitter. What's the biggest prep you haven't got? Spaceship. No, seriously, probably. I mean, one of the reasons I'd love to live in a country with more space and more land and cheaper land would be a fallout a proper, not just a basement conversion, not just a container dropped into a garden, not the limits we have here, but a full-on fallout shelter. That would be my dream. Have you seen especially where they make these old missile silos into them, stuff like that? That would be awesome. I'd love to live in that even before SHTF. So, yeah, it'd probably be a really cool kitted out fallout shelter. Thank you for that. Next one's from Twitter. I think this is the last one as well here for now. What preppers do you follow and why? Ooh, well, we can have a quick look. Sneak peek into my personal YouTube preferences, if you like. I don't even know how I do that. Not sure off the top of my head, but I could tell you anyway. So most recently and most avidly right now is NY Prepper. Purely, I mean, his channel is probably 80 to 90% news updates and intelligence right now. That's not all he does. He's a prepper. He does do some cool penetration tests on weaponry, all sorts of random videos like that, some good excursions. But yeah, I watch it mainly at the moment because of his intelligence and news updates. So NY Prepper is one. I've recently followed the Idaho Prepper. I'm going to actually link all these guys below in a list. I won't get any credit, but it's about sharing the knowledge in the community more than anything. The Canadian Prepper, just Canadian Prepper, he's massive. I mean, if you've found me and you've not found him, something's wrong. So you're probably already following them. There was a guy called the Provident Prepper I was following, another one in America, and I started following him because he was building like he was sinking a freezer, an old chest freezer, into the ground as like a weird little bug out or hide hole thing, but for food and what have you, like a stash. Anyway, that was a cool one. What UK ones? This is the thing. I can't even find them on there. So Anna's Food Lifestyle. She's great tips for shopping, things like that, and basically what you can get and put in your pantry. I follow Funky Prepper, although I like his older stuff better, personally. That's personal preference. And I'm really sorry if I'm not mentioning anybody that I should. But yeah, the list's endless. It's huge. Oh, City Prepping. City Prepping's a great one. Another American one. But he's got his own website and he links you to guides and stuff like that, which are cool, which are free as well. So yeah, City Prepping's another great one. So yeah, we'll be here all day if I listed them all. There is a lot, but I thank them all. I watch them all and I get ideas from them all, like we all do. So yeah, thanks for your question. Well, that's it. That was a long 20-minute ramble. If you've managed to stay all the way to the end of that, fair play to you. Fair play to you. Hit like and comment below. Let me know your thoughts. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments of this video. And when I say questions, I mean like Northeast Self-Sufficient's what started you prepping? That's the kind of questions I mean, not where can I buy, oil from a Vauxhall Tigra. I just relevant questions, please. And ideally stuff that's not already addressed in a video, if you can. Right. Thanks for watching. That's enough rambling, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.